howdy, one y'all noticed me Pikachu Reacts. You guys may wonder where Smashback has been. They actually had to change their upload because they ended up having issues. And this is actually uploaded on the Halloween day. So it's Wario versus Lucas. Mother Free slash Earthbound versus Warrior. Let's go. Wahoo! I'm on Team Warrior for this one. I mean, I like both fighters.
Rivals of the subspace emissary went toe-to-toe in a match to determine who would come out on top.
But I gotta pick Wario.
A show dedicated to solving that exact question. If each and every playable character in the Super Smash Bros. Series was entered into a giant fighting tournament using them at the peak of their strength, who would be victorious? The rules for the series are on screen now, with a link for a further breakdown in the description below. With all that in place, let's take a look at today's match between Lucas and Wario to see who will advance on to the next round and who will be disqualified. Let's get into it.
Wario's got the fart stick and rival atomic bomb.
It's said that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. When we think about legendary heroes, our minds often turn to people who achieve Herculean efforts, slay monsters, or laugh in the face of danger without blinking. But often the truest heroes don't manifest themselves in that way. They might face more subtle adversities, or just be there for a friend, or put random packages of ramen noodles in your food when you order at the Taco Bell drive-thru. I don't know who you are or why you do that, but thank you, it was delicious. In the case of today's fighter, though, Lucas, his journey to heroism was paved with fear and sadness. Lucas was born and raised in Tasmilly Village, a small, low-tech town that was full of strange but happy people. But everything changed when the Pig Mask Army attacked. This army, set on world domination, set fire to the nearby Sunshine Forest. This sent the entire town into a panic that culminated in the disappearance of Lucas's twin brother Klaus and the death of his mother. This loss sent shockwaves through the tight-knit town, and just like what happens in real life with vulnerable people, somebody saw a chance to manipulate their way to power. The high-ranking commander of the Pig Mask Army, Basad, moved into town alongside his pet monkey slave and began his scheme to take control. He introduced the innocent town to the concept of money, only to steal it back and accuse other townsfolk to cause an uproar. Basad seized this opportunity to blame the new state of disarray and the recent fires on the citizens, claiming that the only way to regain peace was to allow him to sell the television-like happy boxes in their homes. These devices are implied to have slowly brainwashed the people of Tasmilly into becoming a hyper-industrialized city that corrupted their hearts toward greed over the course of years. However, not everybody had one of these happy boxes. Lucas and his father Flint remained uninfluenced, and they spent their time grieving and coming to terms with the loss of Lucas's mother. So with this backdrop of a corrupted city, and upon hearing rumors of doppelgangers showing up as missing people, Lucas went to investigate. This launched him headfirst into a strange journey full of new friends, a battle to save the planet, and the search for his long-lost twin brother. Lucas began this quest as an average 13-year-old boy, standing at just over 5 feet tall.
That's
he was a
not that bad. That's decently sized.
And gained the reputation of a crybaby after the death of his mother. Despite this, though, Lucas is actually far stronger than your average teenager. He can take on hordes of enemies with nothing but a stick. And
Notable weapons: real bat, mystical stick, friends yo-yo.
And funny enough, Lucas can't actually use any of the abilities that he has in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, despite that being what he's best known for.
Can't use any of them.
Instead, Lucas's magic is much more defensive in nature. He can raise his
Offense up, defense up, life up, restore heals at each turn, heal status afflictions, revive, spell and item, PK fluff, PK flash, shield and counter. I hardly know her. Okay, this could actually be harder fight for Warrior than I think it could be. Unless it goes full out Warrior, man.
Blinding light that has a ton of different random effects. This spell can cause their opponent to cry so intensely that they're blinded, paralyze their opponent, inflict them with strangeness, which causes them to lose control of their movements and actions.
10% instant win.
Do nothing at all. Its most dangerous effect, though, comes from its 10% chance to instantly destroy the opponent, bypassing durability and getting a guaranteed win. However, while PK Flash houses some powerful binary abilities,
that's a bit. That does seem too fair for Wario.
Comes from his signature ability, PK Love. This devastating.
Unless it cannot speed net, unless it cannot speed Lucas, then he might lose to that. But 10% is going to be bad luck for Wario.
Lucas's non-magical abilities are also worth mentioning, because this kid packs a serious punch, or should I say swing, as his weapons of choice are sticks and baseball bats. He carries several different options to pull from.
Mystical stick nearly as strong as real bat, but it comes with a variety of stat boosts. Strong weapon for pure damage.
With the real bat hitting slightly harder than the mystical stick. With these melee attacks, Lucas can string together.
Keep away. Lucas functions mostly as a supportive fighter. He will keep his distance and stack up buffs and debuffs before dealing some serious damage. Groovy combos Lucas can pull off as some kids some fanny yeet swag oak baller combos by hitting enemy up to 16 times in a row in rhythm to their heartbeat of music.
There are up to 16 hits in a row each time he connects an attack by stringing attacks together with the rhythm of the music.
Wow.
Which, by the way, for anyone else who has played Mother out there, is anyone good at this combo system, or am I just uniquely bad at it? It's always been, like, near impossible for me, genuinely curious. Let's get back to the video. But anyway, much of Lucas's truest versatility comes from his plethora of strange items that he carries on him. The enemy Whimperizer can make its targets weaker, whereas the attack attractor sprays the enemy
With
with
vibe
stuff
trinkets.
so vile that all surrounding creatures feel compelled to attack them. But it gets weirder and weirder as I look through this list. He carries a chicken, literal poop, and the Made You Look taps an enemy on the shoulder to make them turn around. He's also got rotten bananas to make the enemies slip, and a beehive honey shower that stings the enemy multiple times with bees, and has the chance to summon a freaking bear to attack the target. What the heck? The weird thing is that this is actually one of the strongest attacks in the game. This is no ordinary bear. But anyway, not all of his items are weird and quirky. The Shield Snatcher is a sticky hand that can remove shields and counters from enemies.
What does crap you have, Lucas? Where do you carry it?
Augment his stats.
I'm actually curious where the hell you carry this stuff. Do you carry it in your pants?
He also has access to a wide variety of explosives.
What the? Where did you put these bombs?
Rocket or sprinting bomb, which chases after its
You
target.
know pockets in your pants. I don't think. You might pockets, but where the hell do you carry all this stuff? I don't think those pants are big enough to carry all that crap.
Anyone in the game down to death's door with only a single hit point remaining, including the king statue, who is tough enough that Lucas would need to attack it constantly for over a month if he were to break it without this bomb. But with the assistance of this bomb, Lucas can nearly instantly pulverize the statue into oblivion. Speaking of which, we ought to mention Lucas's strength. Like many older games, Mother 3 is incredibly hard to measure anything
Okay.
due to its abstract combat system. We can see enemies knocked away at the ends of fights, and they'll often burst into light and disappear entirely, hinting at total vaporization. But because things are so abstract, it's hard to say if there's any one correct definitive answer on how to handle these feats in combat. What we ended up doing was looking at the strongest enemy that Lucas could destroy in a single hit with full strength and buffs on top of the critical strike in order to get his maximum output possible for a single hit. This ended up being the boss, Mr. Janator, who we can conveniently see totally destroyed after the fight. Lucas is also tough enough to survive being burnt to a crisp by lightning and withstand a 100-story fall.
That's not too good.
Able to dodge out of the way of a moving train and dodge the aim of light-based attacks in combat.
That's impressive.
What I'm trying to say is that in the end, Lucas's journey is one of a young boy dealing with survivor's guilt.
But Wario, he's very, very fast as well.
Overwhelming odds and danger to save the people that
He's surprisingly fast for a fat man.
While he did start as a frightened, untrained child, by the end of the game, he became brave, capable, and heroic. And it was through relying
I'm
on
actually interested in who's going to win this fight now. Because Lucas, I underestimated him at first. He might be able to pull this off. I did not think he was going to win.
It's said that stars aren't born, they're made. And it's also been said that stars are huge balls of condensed gas billions of miles away. And one of those sayings has never been more true than talking about today's fight. Wario was born as one of 7 legendary star children, destined to stand in the way of Koopa Troopa efforts to achieve world domination. As a baby, Wario looked at this destiny head-on and chose to tantrum endlessly instead. So much so, in fact, that the people watching over him decided that everyone would be better off if they just chucked the baby in an underwater cave and left him there. After being saved by a kind-hearted Yoshi, baby Wario immediately got his priorities straight and pulled out a giant magnet to collect as much money as humanly possible. And this is largely indicative of Wario's personality in general, which seems to rest upon 3 foundational pillars.
Money.
Jerk, being disgusting, and getting lots and lots of money. Greed is one of the primary drivers of Wario's life. He spends most of his time seeking after riches in any way that he can. He's the Veruca Salt of Mario characters. The kind of guy to take your coat off the back just to add to his newly established coat collection. The kind of greedy dude to put an ad in the middle of a YouTube video, breaking the flow up just to get some extra ad revenue.
Gift or no gift, I am just as special as
Wario Land, he's got a lot of crap. He's got a lot of crap in his arsenals for him to do damage with in Wario Land
And in
games.
his pursuit of riches over the years, Wario's achieved many different vocations. From a treasure hunter to an athlete to a game developer, shelling out mind-numbing outsourced games to anyone he can get a buck from. Along the way, Wario's picked up a number of interesting skills and abilities to aid him in his journeys. He's a pretty decent fighter who, despite relying on his brute strength far more than skill, can do some serious fast-paced damage. His shoulder charge ability can easily shatter stone blocks, and he can also shake the entire room with a ground pound or even just by punching the floor. And while all of these strikes are dangerous, he can take things to a whole new level once he gets his hands on them. By grappling his opponents and shaking them with enough force to shatter steel, Wario can cause coins to shoot out of his targets and take for himself. His unique powers extend out to his durability as well. He survived this giant nose-shaped satellite falling out of the sky and crashing through a house and a mountain. But outside of this kind of blunt force, Wario can achieve some interesting new abilities depending on what kind of damage he endures. For example, lightning damage will transform him into Electric Wario, who's capable of dishing out some serious electric damage. Flaming Wario, on the other hand, lets him run around while engulfed in fire. And Puffy Wario allows him to achieve limited flight after being stung by creatures like bees or jellyfish. And holy crap, do I hate this design. Wow, that's hard to look at. While these forms are primarily reactionary and not something that Wario can usually achieve on his own, he does have several power upgrades that give him a similar advantage. The Dragon Hat, for example, turns him into King Dragon Wario, allowing him to shoot fire and fly for short distances, while the Bull Helmet increases his power enough to cause massive tremors. But his most famous transformation comes from eating an entire clone
Wario Man.
transforming him into the incredibly powerful and smelly Wario Man. In this form, Wario gets an unprecedented boost to his power and durability, and most importantly, gets a costume that fits right in with the International Justice League of Super Acquaintances. He also wields several powerful items that he's picked up over the years to aid him in combat. For example, the Good Style staff lets him enter several different forms to gain new abilities.
Wait, what?
Such as Sparky Wario, who can throw lightning. He can also throw a variety of bombs or buckets, which he can use to blind his opponents by throwing it over their heads like a discount plankton. Wario has a lot of innate athleticism, despite his appearance, which allows him to charge through his levels at high speeds. But he can take this maneuverability even further with vehicles like planes, submarines, or his signature Wario bike. He's a relentless opponent, whose primary strategy revolves around being weird and rushing down his enemies with overwhelming offense.
Yes.
Should he find himself at a distance, he has some ways to account for that as well.
He wants to be weird.
Ray gun or fireballs. The Jet Hat also allows him to propel forward and close the distance quickly. And when this all comes together, Wario is not somebody to be trifled with. He'll beat down anyone who gets in the way of him or his treasure, being a threat to their lives and their wallets. But with all that said and done, it is time.
He's gonna bring up a weird fight in this fight.
Lucas versus Wario to figure out who will advance on to the next round of the Smash bracket and who will be disqualified.
This is gonna be a weird fight, but most definitely, it's gonna be weird and wacky for Wario. Hey, Lucas. After seeing this fight, I think that Lucas could actually win this fight. Oh god, Wario. Wario made these guys turn to zombies. They're all playing his game. Kirby. Oh! Woo! Hand-drawn. Ball, Wario. Yeah. Puffy Wario. This is stupid of him. Bucket. He's buffing his attack a lot. He's just throwing a lot of crap at him. Shield. Couple of noodles. This is a ridiculous fight. Offense up. You can stop doing offense up. Franklin badge. He's not done yet. He's making this ridiculous. Counter. I have good news and bad news. The good news is I'm finally a key character in the Smash Bracket episode. The bad news is we are about to something. Warriors had enough. Lucas had a run. Wario! Wario was returning to Warrior Man and doing a bunch of speedy combos to knock Lucas out. It's too close to call, but they have both have resurrection tools to get themselves out of death. Warrior's playing a transformation that can activate by Lucas's power attacks like PK Fire because Wario is lit on fire when he gets a fire transformation. But Lucas also has some weird stuff to pull on Wario. But in my opinion, I think Wario had the slightly higher chance of beating Lucas than Lucas beat Wario. Well, my suggestion here, Pikachu reacts. Oh, I did it! Warriors would have hatched from Wario Land, or one of such abilities to unleash his Warrior Man to end up putting Lucas in his place. I like Lucas, but he isn't going to win. I think Wario could just unleash a massive raft that will basically equal a nuke explosion. Warrior Man is going to deal the final blow. Oh, my suggestion made it on this video. Oh my goodness! I actually made it as a recommendation. Sweet! Yes!
In order for Lucas to win, he would have needed to keep his distance for long enough.
Yes!
Power up or take Wario out of the fight with a PK. However, Wario's best chances came from the exact opposite approach. He would need to rush down Lucas and not let up on his assault at all until the fight.
I'm so happy that I actually got showcased in this. My suggestion got used.
Or instantly take Wario out of the fight with a PK Flash, and a 60% chance to blind him and provide even more room for PK.
I'm so happy.
Decimating New Year's Eve bomb. To determine which character would be able to execute their preferred strategy a majority of the time, we need to take a look at their stats. Starting with speed, both Lucas and Wario come within a few decimal points of each other. Lucas dodging out of the way of that train, and Wario's speed maneuvering around his levels, both came in to roughly 24 miles per hour or 38.6 kilometers per hour. Wario could enhance this even further with machines like his bikes and planes, but while these would be a boost in travel speed, they wouldn't really allow him the kind of speed that's relevant in a combat scenario. Not to mention that Lucas's saltwater gun is an item that's specifically designed to destroy machinery like that, causing it to instantly rust. So while they're even in speed, to go over their peak strength and durability, I'm going to bring in our lead researcher, Real Lemon, to help us out.
Hey Ink, Lucas's best show of strength was destroying Mr. Janitor with a single hit. Looking at the energy required to destroy a metal construct of that size already looks pretty impressive. But what makes it more impressive is that the attack happens in less than a tenth of a second, and Lucas is hitting with a baseball bat, meaning the point of contact is pretty small. This means that the intensity of the attack is really high. This is like having the annual power consumption of 2,000 homes concentrated on every square inch.
That's pretty impressive power up for Lucas.
Wario's top strength output, which comes from smashing this block of stone into rubble. Between the deceptively large amount of stone being destroyed here, the speed of the punch, and the small area of Wario's fist, this is way more impressive than it seems at first glance. Lucas might have the power output of 2,000 homes, but Wario has the power of 20,000 homes. We should also mention their durability. Both characters have commonly cited high-end durability feats that are worth some critical examination. At the end of Mother 3, we witness a huge amount of destruction across the planet. There's some dialogue after this that makes it seem like Lucas may have survived, and this statement by the creator shows that he was indeed supposed to have lived through the destruction, though he clarifies it was only the island that was totally destroyed. While this is definitely impressive, when we look at what is actually happening in the cutscenes, we can see that the destruction is the result of many natural disasters over a long period of time. This means that we can't just treat Lucas as enduring a single explosion strong enough to level the island. And since we don't actually know what he did to survive here, or even which disasters he personally endured, we can't really use it as a durability feat for him. Wario has bragged that he is immortal before in the English version of the Wario 2 game manual, but even if we trusted him, this inability to be hurt wouldn't hold up against stronger attacks than he has endured before. And we definitely don't trust that he is immortal when he has items in Wario Land Shake It specifically designed to bring him back from death. Also, at the end of Shake It, Wario kills the Shake King, who then explodes into a massive column of light. While this explosion initially seems like it is impressive because it seems to push a large amount of clouds away, we can also see that it does absolutely no damage to the room that he was in or the ship that the explosion originated from, especially when you consider that these clouds seem to be caused by the presence of the Shake King in the first place. There's just not any reason to consider this explosion had a meaningful amount of power behind it. When looking at feats that hold up to scrutiny, the top durability feats of our fighters look a bit different. Lucas's best measurable durability feat is when he had volcanic steam erupt out of the ground and totally cover his body for several seconds. Volcanic steam can reach temperatures up to 400 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And we can figure out the power transferred here by looking at the thermal conductivity of human skin. Lucas is enduring over 38 kilowatts per centimeter squared here.
Wow.
He's quite literally being cooked alive, but walks out of this with a new power instead of actual damage. When Wario gets hit by this nose-shaped satellite, we see it destroy his house and begin tunneling through the ground. Wario takes this crash head-on and doesn't seem to care at all. By measuring the size of the house compared to the size of the door, which we're assuming is Wario-sized, we can figure out that this crash has an intensity equal to about half the power capacity of the world's largest nuclear power plant. So Wario easily takes the physical stats here. His durability is too high for Lucas to deal meaningful damage to him, and his strength is more than enough to deal with Lucas's durability. Lucas's strategy, equipment, and abilities do help him deal with this stat gap a bit, but the initial head start that Wario has gives him a big advantage. Back to you.
That was a ridiculous fight.
Honestly, a battle that could go either way. There isn't a clear-cut victor because the outcome of each battle rely heavily on the context in which they fight. If they start at close range, let's say close enough to fist bump, we believe that Wario would take the fight about 90% of the time. Lucas just wouldn't have the time required to execute on the strategy.
Had a rotten day.
But if they started at about mid-range,
2006 to 2021.
of a boxing ring, they'd likely go just about 50-50, with Wario sometimes being able to close in before Lucas can get on his status effects, but Lucas being able to get a winning strategy just as often. And finally, starting any farther apart would probably give this fight to Lucas about 80% of the time. He almost certainly would have the time and maneuverability that he needs to pull off the win more often than not. So while Wario wins at close range, and they tie at medium ranges, and Lucas actually takes it pretty easily at slightly longer starting distances, we feel that Wario has slightly more of an advantage at close range than Lucas has at long range, due to Wario's vehicles and other ways to close the distance quicker than normal. So by a fraction of a fraction, Wario is the winner and will be moving on to the next round of the Smash Bracket. Next time on the Smash.
Sorry, Lucas, you're done. I like you a lot. And Mario Month. Okay. Banjo versus Yoshi. It's Banjo versus Yoshi. Yes, yes, yes. I want to see that one badly. I'm voting Yoshi for that one completely. I mean, I just have to vote for Yoshi in that fight. It's Yoshi. And guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Bye.